G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke here, here you go. Today, got me a beautiful old Big Olive here. She's come along pretty well lately, grown pretty good. Been really healthy the last few years. I had a couple of years there where it wasn't so much, but now it's just loving life. Anyway, made it through last summer really well. Probably to do with this big pot that it's in. But this tree needs that big pot. Without that big pot, you know, it's already touching the front and the back anyway. It just simply wouldn't fit. So anyway, so today in this video I'm going to repot this, put some moss on it, and that's about it. As far as trimming that, I trimmed it a while back, and it's been winter here, so it's been fairly dormant. It'll probably start to grow soon. It's just starting to warm up, so yeah, anyway, so we'll repot this tree. It weighs a fair bit, you know, like probably 80 kilo, close to. By the time you put in that pot and stuff, at least 60 to 65 anyway. So anyway, we'll repot it. You can see there's a lot of weeds here. So my plan is just to pull it out. I'm not going to bare root it, I'm just going to scrape the edges of the root ball, clean it out a bit, put a little bit of fresh soil in, and then put it straight back in the same pot. And I'm really happy with the angle, the front, and how it's planted. It all looks pretty good. One thing I probably will do is when I scrape these weeds off the top, I might try and go a little bit deeper. This was flat cut when it was collected, I think. But when I repot it and get rid of these weeds, I'm going to go a little bit deeper and see whether any of these roots have developed enough that I can leave them sit on the surface and then maybe weave some moss in and around the roots, you know. So it really looks like it's, you know, really anchors down into the soil. So we'll check the roots out on it, see what the roots are like. If they aren't that great, well, we'll just leave it how it is, which is fine because it's got such a strong base to it anyway that even if the roots aren't so good, it's not really going to matter. So I guess the first thing to do is get it out of this pot. I just got to work out, no, I don't think it does. I just got to work out whether there's a rim in this pot which will stop it from coming out, and then I end up smashing my pot trying to pull it out. One thing too, I was going to say, previously this tree was in a different pot and I left it for 5 years without repotting it, and it ended up cracking the pot because it got too big a root system in there. And it's been in this one for nearly 4 years now, so it's definitely time for a repot. And another way you know that it's time for repot is that when this one waters, the water doesn't drain through anymore. It just sort of puddles up and sits there, and it sits there for quite a while before it drains through. But I haven't done anything because the tree's been really healthy. It's been disease free, no scale, which is their main problem with an olive is scale. So there's been no issues with it health wise, so I've just left it in this pot. But I think it's time now that we did do something, so we'll repot it. Okay, I had a look, there was no, I really don't know how I'm going to do this because it weighs so much. I thought about having a strap up and lifting it up on that and just having it swing. But I think I can tip it on the side and try and pull the pot off. I'm hoping. Okay, I'll just check the video, see what time we got left here since I've been yabbering on. Okay, I think we've got enough. Dogs in the shed mucking around. Okay. Hey, what are you doing? What you doing there, boy? You're being crazy, aren't you? Okay. So let's. I can barely even spin it. It's heavy. Seriously, it's heavy. And even tipping it over is hard. I'm going to have to be so careful for the. Really need two people, but unless someone can volunteer to zap themselves over in the next 5 seconds. I really don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I really got to pull it out the pot. If I lean it over too much and then try and pull the pot off the bottom, what could happen is it could smash. It could break the branch, so smash the branch. So another option is if I lean the tree right off the table, or ooh, it's heavy. Or I could seriously try and hold the corner down here and just push up as hard as I can and see what happens. Alright, we ready? Oh shit, no way. Didn't even move, didn't even budge. Hello. Hello. What are you doing, Tom? Get out. What are you doing? Huh? Okay, so that didn't work. I could try and cut the sides to loosen it up, but there is no lip, so that shouldn't matter. Oh well, let me have a bit of a think about it, and then try and settle this dog down a bit. Okay, so what I decided, I'm going to get this thing out, cut around the edge, because this pot, although it doesn't taper in underneath, this pot's reasonably porous and rough, and I feel that probably the roots are clinging to it pretty well, and they've really expanded in there probably. So I was putting a fair bit of pressure on it, so I might go through here and just cut around the edge carefully. I can't even go full depth because, you know, as you can see, the pot's deeper than this thing is long. Maybe it's been a bit too long between pottings. Alright, I feel like that's still not going to come out, I really do. I'll give it a good shove, good old heave-ho, but I don't know, when everything weighs so much, it's hard to get enough leverage on anything. It literally didn't move. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to try and, I'll turn the table for you. I can't even do that, it's too heavy. I really need another person here. Thinking about even lifting this table. Okay, well, let's see what happens. This is not ideal by any means. This is how not to repot a big tree. Do not do them on your own. Unless you have a strap up to the roof, which I don't. But, you know, by the end of this video, anything can happen. I might have to. I do have my hoist. Okay, so I'm going to roll this over very carefully. And even still, you know, it's just going to go too far. Nothing's budging. Maybe I won't repot this tree, maybe I'll just leave it. Still healthy enough. I don't know, we'll see. I just can't budge it, I mean. Come on. Gonna bust the old poop valve in a minute. let's go this way. I don't want to wreck anything. Jeez, I don't know, guys. I thought this would be an easy job, but maybe not. Good, well. Let me get back to you in 2 weeks. Okay guys, well, I've connected an arm of the hoist to the tree, and I'm going to see if I can lift it up with that. Let's see what happens. And I haven't tried it yet, so this could go pear-shaped pretty quick. And I might get myself a little rubber mallet. Trying to find a soft one. Okay, so I got myself a softish rubber mallet to maybe tap the pot off with, I hope. I'm going to lift it. I think it's going to swing a bit in the wrong direction. I've got a sheet down. Let's see what happens. Now, I may have to feed branches here so they don't snap. Just be super careful. Because like I said, it's bloody heavy. Seriously, it's putting a lot of strain on these branches right now. Oh, Jesus. I'll just Okay, so you can see it's off the ground anyway. You can see how she goes. I don't want to go too far off the ground because when I hit this pot off, I don't want it to fall too far. And I don't want to hit it too hard because you can still smash the pot with rubber mallet if you're not careful. So we are really putting a lot of strain on those branches. I've got a half inch around the trunk of the tree. And we're just going to spin it and just tap around gently. That's what I mean, one person. This is bloody hard to do with one person. Don't get overexcited and hit it too hard, because there goes over $100 for a pot. And that's only a cheap one of this size, really. No, this is about the wrong time to have a dog jump in on the operation. What are you doing there, dog? You better not wreck this tree. This is Dad's best tree. Don't you go wrecking my best tree there, boy. Okay, we're getting there. I think something's happening. Okay, it's definitely starting to touch this sheet underneath. Hello. What are you doing? You're making this hard, mate. Mate. Seriously, mate. What are you really doing? You're so gross. Get down, you feral. Hey. What's going on, mate? What's going on? Come back here. Come on, feral. You're feral, mate. Okay. Hey. Sit down. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Hey, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Yeah. Okay. We just gotta try and get this out, man. Extremely heavy. She wouldn't know. She knows you'll get a hit with the rubber mallet, mate. Oh, really sorry about this, guys. I thought, you know, a couple of minutes to be out the pot and I'll be repotting it. Instead, this has been a real hell, mammoth effort here. I'm getting bloody hot. Woo! She's putting up a battle, this old girl. Almost too much for Aussie Bonsai Bloke here, this pot. This girl. Well, that's it. I guess it expanded the pot too much. And that's the pot broken. Yeah. Bit of a bummer. That's $100 pot. Really didn't think that would happen. I think it was more the fact that it was trying to push the fatter root ball through the pot. Oh man, what are you doing in your sim? Oh well, I'll just show you this pot. She's clean split in half. So, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Clean split it in half just because you can see the root ball shape. It's got a real dome out there. So, I mean, this pot would have done that every repotting, I reckon. I had no idea it was like that. You know, when I repotted it into that pot years ago, I didn't think about it too much. But obviously, it was a big mistake. There you go. Completely smashed. Smashed in half. There you go, Sam, you clown. You've wrecked yourself a good pot. Well, not so good a pot. I really should not shape them like that. So now, back to the drawing board. I've got to put it in something. Well, obviously now I don't have a pot. So there's a couple of options. I can make a wooden box for it, put it in that. Possibly try and put it in its old pot that it smashed. I did glue that one up. I'm not sure. I'd probably not like to reduce the root ball too much. Extremely big, fat, massive roots here. Just really quite solid, so to get it into that other pot I would have to cut the edges off a reasonable amount. I can do this all on the table now probably, but you can see I cut all underneath here and yet it still didn't want to come. No, well, there's a lesson for Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Don't buy those types of pots. It was nice at the time, but how the heck do you get your tree out of one of those? You can see a nice big fat root there, look at that. Alright, anyway, enough talking about that bloody pot. Let's move on and think about what we're going to do here. I'll get it back on the table, get the camera back up to the right height, and let's see what happens. Yep, dog's having a field day down here. Eating who knows what and sniffing around the place. Ended up getting a heap of dirt on his back. Okay, I've got it on the table now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and just rake out the top here. Get rid of all the weeds. See if I can find some better roots down further. And if I can get rid of some of this mass, there's a small chance it could fit in the very old, not an old pot, but in the old pot that I used to have it in 4 or 5 years ago. Possibly, we'll see. It's a bit of a small pot for it really though, so I didn't want to have to put it in there. I could have to put it in a wooden box like I said. So I'm just going to work all the weeds and soil off the top. See if I've got any bigger roots down in here. Doesn't look like I really do, because I think what's happened is it's just individually spread, even small roots around where it's been saw cut or flat cut. But we'd possibly take an inch or so off the top. Okay, so I'll get to doing that. I'll do this around the whole thing. Possibly look for some bigger roots if I can find some. If not, doesn't matter, we'll just repot it. Repot it at the old height it was, or maybe just slightly up. Main thing is to get all these weeds out, all these, I don't know what you call this, creeping oxalis or something like that. It's a real pain, that stuff as well. It's not so bad though, as long as you keep on it, it's not that vigorous. Okay, and these corners, if it's going to fit in the other pot's oval, so these corners have to be really cleaned out well. So I'm going to go through and do that. No worries, I'll get back to you when I'm finished cleaning that, and I'll also clean the bottom. You may see in the bottom some old drainage screens, I don't know. Yeah, they're still in here. You can see all the roots, you know, it's really been really healthy. And like I said, it's been growing really well. That dog's going mad over there. So there's the old drainage screen, sort of stuck in the roots there. There's another one on the other side. So I'll try and get that out. It's actually growing in there really well. Such solid roots now. Just everywhere you look, there's roots. So it probably can, you know, do with being taken back a bit, you know, it's been that vigorous. So we'll get back to you when I've gone through. I'll clean the bottom out, clean the sides out, clean the top, and see what it fits into later. No worries. Cheers. Okay guys, well, I've reduced it as much as possible, and this is the old pot that it once smashed, and it used to sit in, believe it or not. I didn't think the base got any bigger, but I think it has. I don't even think you would get the actual base in anymore, so obviously everything's fattened up, including the trunk, which could be why it smashed that pot. I don't know, but I've either got to build a wooden box, or I think what I'll try and do is I'll try and get some ceramic glue and glue that back together. I even cut this massive sheet of roots, which is quite heavy, off the bottom. Just cut it clean off. The dog loves it, don't you, dog? You love it. Likes playing around in there. So I think ceramic glue on there, let it dry for a bit, see what happens. Anyway, I'll learn a lesson from that, but at the same time I'm not sure there's much I could do differently, apart from maybe get a different knife and really cut down really well all the way to the bottom, but I didn't realise it was in such a recessed pot, so I'll glue it and I'll try and put it back in there, at least temporary, because if I don't put it back in that glued pot, it's going to be in a wooden box until I can afford to buy a new pot. Good day. Welcome back. Well, after all that dilemma of the broken pot, went and got some glue and fixed it. You can see the size difference between the original pot it used to be in to the pot it is now. Like I said, I didn't think the base had got any bigger, but it definitely has. There's no way it's going to fit in there now. And I'll just show you from the top view the difference in the size of the pot. This one's absolutely massive. This one's quite small. And it used to fit in there, believe it or not. So this one here, all I've done is I've glued it up, put some glue in it, some Selly's Araldite, I think it was called. I'll see if I can find the pack. I think it was somewhere over here. Could be under my jacket. Here we go. Got it. Okay, so it was Selly's Super Strength Epoxy. Holds up to 150 kilo, durable. Mind you, the drying time on this crap was bloody 1 to 2 hours just to set, and it literally took 2 to 3 hours to set. 6 to 8 hours for initial bond. I'm going to say it took 8 to 12. And I'm not joking, we're about 3 days later, and it's finally set hard. So although it says 24 to 72 hours, I'm going to guess it was the 72 hours. Big effort to try and glue it. So anyway, it's all glued. It seems quite solid. I won't give it another whack with that mallet. I won't drop it too hard, but it is pretty set. I haven't tried to see whether the tree will fit in there again, but I assume it will, because I did cut some roots off of the tree. I'll get this one out the way. Okay, so this one can go back into limbo land here. That one can go back there. And the tree, the poor old tree, has sat here, I'm not joking, 5 days, no sunlight, nothing. It's just had to deal with it. I haven't even tried to water the soil in there. I haven't checked on it, nothing. I was just that peed off about the whole pot scenario. I just bloody well left it, you know. So anyway, I've got to get back in here now, and I've got to address the tree. You know, it's my favourite tree, so as much as I'm peed off with it, and it was a real, well, fucker that it even happened, I now have to go and pot it up in that pot again and just suck it up and get over it. No worries. I'll just show you whether it'll fit. I'll put the drainage screens back in and I'll pot it up for you. I've got the moss outside. I went and collected moss. So I'll show you the collecting trip of the moss. That was pretty cool. No worries. Let's get this old beauty girl potted up and we'll get back to you. Cheers. Okay, so we're gonna, first things first, look at this fine ramification. It's just so healthy, so beautiful. 5 days in the shed. I guess it's probably no different to going to a show for a few days. But anyway, what I did is I wrapped around the base. Not sure how it'll go, but I wrapped around the base with all the old soil, the old roots. Still feels quite moist, so I'm assuming it's going to be okay. Just clear all that out. Okay. So this is the roots that I'll keep. Like I said, I'm not going to bare root it. I don't want to do that. This tree's starting to get too old to want to bare root it. Okay, I just piled up the soil around it as a bit of an emergency, just because of what happened with the pot. So it spent 5 days sitting on the shed floor like a neglected old tree, waiting for its pot to get fixed. Okay, so I've got all that cleared off. Right. Good eye. Get that out the way. Okay, let's get that back in its container. Oh, I just want to show you too. Up in the top here, we did end up cracking a branch. Hang on, where are you? In here. This is where that's a crack there where the tip of my finger is. And that's because that strap that was holding the tree up in the air put a bit of pressure on that branch and it's broken it. But see how it goes, you know, that bit does fill in a bit of a chunk there. So if that dies, we'll have a bit of a hole to fill in, which is doable. So we'll see how it recovers. Anyway, you can see it's such a full canopy on that thing, it's just beautiful. Anyway, let's get it in its pot. Hang on, something's scratching at the door, could be the dog, let's see. Here boy, here boy. Come on, come in. Oh, you hit your head, Baba. You hit your head. Oh. You're a good boy. Hey. Okay. So I'll put it back up to the pot. First thing I'm going to do, I've got no soil, no screens, nothing in there at the moment. I just want to see whether it fits front to back without putting too much pressure back on the pot. And obviously next time I repot this thing, I'm going to have to seriously remember that I've got to cut in quite severely, and I may end up using this pot for a different tree in the future. But for now, it's all I got for this olive, and it will be getting repotted back into the same pot. So I'll tip this olive up. Such a beautiful olive. I just really can't believe how well this tree's done since I got it only a few years ago. So only, well, there you go. It's going to fit easy. Because I cut it back pretty hard to try and get it out in the first place, it's actually got a good couple inches front to back. Even affords me a bit of room to move it around if I need to. Yeah, just absolutely beautiful tree. Love that olive. It's just ramified and just become a beautiful tree just on its own, you know. All I've done is a bit of trimming. The dog wants to get out again. What's going on, Leo? Want to hop out, buddy? Oh, hang on. Geez, anyone think that I'm your servant, mate? You going out or what? You don't want any? Now you can go out, you don't want to. What you doing? Huh? What you doing? You just want to look at it, don't you? You just want to see what's going on, don't you, boy? Yeah, beautiful. So, anyway, let's not worry too much about that doggy being a bit crazy. What are you doing, Leo? Hey? Do you want to hop out? Can you get out? That's wide enough for you. You're not that big, boy. Oh, good boy. What you got in your hand? Hand in your mouth and your paw. What is that? Bring it in. Ah, dog. Oh, he's got his poo bags. What are you doing? Don't be so feral, mate. Hey? Don't be so feral. Right, let's get back to this tree. Bloody time wasting dog. Okay, so this tree, as you can see, now that I've really cleaned up, I've got a good gap here and at the back, all around the sides. It's also extremely low in the pot, so I can afford to put a good thick layer of bonsai mix on the bottom, then cover in the sides, put some moss on, and still have, you know, a good little layer to the lip. Have it nice and flat. It's such a big pot, but then it is such a big tree, so it can afford to have a big pot like that, you know. The tree's got enough visual weight with the base and everything like that, that you can have a pot as big as that. Alright, let's get back to the repotting. I'll put the mesh in and put some soil in and we'll see how we go. Okay, first things first, I'll put in the screens. Put in the same screens I took out. I'm going to put a layer of mix on the bottom. You may have to put it in a few bags in here because it's a big pot. As you can see, I had really healthy root growth on this tree. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, I might try one bag. Okay, I've got one bag in, or close to one bag, and that's a really good quality stuff. This Osmocote, Scott's Osmocote, I don't find as good. It's more of an organic mix without the rocks and stuff. It's not as free draining as the Devco mix, which is what I like better. People in colder climates with more rain, or also warm climates with a lot of rain, you probably want something a bit more free draining. You might have to make your own soil up, but for me, you know, I'm just happy getting that mix and using it. Just trying to think of the final height. I think I can actually afford to go a bit lower. I'm going to scoot. Oh, the tree's still heavy even though it's on. Hell of a lot lighter than before, but still bloody heavy. Right, what I'm going to do is we're going to scoop some soil out. Have it a bit lower. And then the final moss height is going to be just under the rim of the pot, and it's going to look pretty good, you know, like having it that low. Nice flat surface with the moss. Going to look really cool. So, okay, so I've taken not half of it out, but you know, probably a third. Still a good layer of bonsai mix in here. Really happy that I fixed this pot, you know, like that was nearly $140 pot. From the front here, you can't even tell. Cracks here on the side and at the back, which goes along there. But it did cost me 20 bucks in glue. That glue cost me $23. $23 to fix $140 pot. Okay. Anyway, yes, that was a bit of an experience breaking that pot. I'm sure some of you's got a bit of a laugh out of it. I got a bit of a laugh out of it too, to be honest. Sort
You're not surprised, you know, the sort of clown I am. I do wreck a lot of stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, got it in there. Happy with the planting angle. It's slightly leaning forward. Okay, I don't want to go silly on the leaning forward. I'm happy with how it is. Okay, just you know, 5 degrees forward. That's enough. I'm just going to put soil around the edges. Put some back on top of the roots. Expose a couple of the stronger roots. We'll see. Expose a few stronger roots. And then put some moss around it. Okay, so I'll do that pretty well off camera. I'll put the soil around it off camera. And then I'll get the moss. Cheers. Okay, to get the moss, simply got a knife, scraper, and got a steel tray here which I'm going to lay it on so that I don't have to pile it up and get sand all over the top of the moss. It'll keep it nice and green, ready for the repot. I'll put this in the toolbox. And I'll head up. You watch, I'll start this motorbike and you watch this dog. Look, I'm running. Ready? Let's turn the key. Better put it into neutral. You watch, I'll start it up. There we go. Hey Leo, settle down, mate. Okay, let's go. Let's go. He loves the motorbike, don't you, boy? Let's go. We're going to go through the gate, bud. More moss out here. Okay, coming up to some moss now. Nice bit of moss on the rock there. Some around the place here. I'll collect some here. We'll put up with that barking dog. Maybe if I get off the bike he'll settle down, we don't know. He's crazy, that dog. Leo, what's going on, bud? Come here. Come on. Buddy, come here. Leo, come. Come. Good boy. Good boy. Come here. I know you're excited to go for a run, buddy, but come on. Come on. Come on. Don't be so feral. Leo, come here. Come here. What's going on? Leo, buddy, hello. Okay, dog's still running around there, sniffing everything. Leo, Papa. Anyway, here's the moss, so what I'm going to do is scrape it up. You've got to be careful what moss you collect too, because this moss here has a bit of dirt on the rock, which is what lets it grow so well. But if you go to this sort of moss on the ground here, which is on the actual ground, that's more of like a sphagnum moss or a different type of moss, and what will happen is when that gets in a bonsai pot and it gets too wet, it's just going to die off and not grow. But this type of moss is different to that one. That one won't work, this one will. So just, you know, look around, know your mosses. I've done a mistake in the past where I collected a lot of moss and it was the wrong stuff, and it didn't work in the bonsai pot environment. They all have their own little environments they like to live in. So this moss here, you can see is growing on the rock with dirt underneath, and that'll be fine. So I'll just collect all that. I'll try and find some different coloured stuff, but we'll see what happens. See if I can find some. In the meantime, just use your scraper or your knife or whatever you use just to get it off the rock best you can. As you can see, we're getting it off there pretty good. That looked pretty good on the tree. And I just stop, you know, if you collect this dry stuff here, it'll still green up within a few days, but it won't look good in the meantime. But you can collect that too and put that on too, so up to you whether you want it green straight away or not. For the video, I'm going to collect only the green stuff, but normally I wouldn't care, I'd collect that as well. Just have another bit of a look around. Okay, here we go, it's a bit more moss in here, which is the sort of moss you're after. I'll pull the weeds out of there after. No worries, I'll collect some more moss and get back to you. Cheers. Okay, so I got to a different spot here. As you can see, there's a few different types of moss right here, which is really cool. Okay, so we got the green, dark green, really small moss. Then we got a really light green moss, which is here. Okay, and I think possibly that could be a different moss there also. So I'll collect a bit of that as well. And I like to put a bit of variety of moss in my pots, so it's sort of multicolored. And hopefully some new sort of moss varieties take over and look pretty cool rather than just your standard green moss that you quite often see. So, you know, I don't really have a lot of different moss in my pots, but I really want to get into getting some different moss. So anyway, so I'll just collect that, get the scraper underneath. You can see how much different colour it is to the plain moss, and how much more interesting it is with all that multicolour and layers and textures and stuff in there. It's really cool. It's going to look a lot better than having a plain moss. So I'll collect a bit more of that here, and I'll try to put it straight on my pot the same. And you know, inevitably there's going to be some weed seeds in here when you collect them. You just got to be diligent, try and get rid of them, which I'm not. I'm bloody hopeless at trying to keep weeds out of my pots. One of the worst, I must say. Just don't seem to get the time, and I don't have the patience, because it really is a tedious job to try and keep them out. Okay, yeah, it's really cool, the different looks that you get there. No worries, I'll probably catch you back in the shed unless I find something more interesting. No worries, cheers. Okay, well, I'm at the back of my property. Beautiful evening. And what better view do you want when you go and collect some moss? Just absolutely stunning. Living out here, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'll just show you the moss that I collected. Okay, we got some weird stuff here. I'm not sure whether that's a moss or what it is, but it's pretty weird. All sorts of different stuff here. The green moss, well, it's all green, but you know, almost like lawn. Then there's sort of more patchy with highlighted yellow. And then some of the stuff that has this tall, sort of, I guess you could say almost flowers on it. That's really cool. Really surprised by how well this camera picks it up. All your different mosses there. And I also found this really cool moss here. I don't know what sort of moss it is, but it's really cool. I don't think I've seen it before, but then I haven't paid attention before either. It's almost like little mini lettuces or something. It's really cool. I got a bit of that because I haven't seen it before, so I'm going to take it back to the bonsai, see how it goes. If it does no good, you know, I'll replace it with something else, but just want to try and get a bit of variety in my moss. Anyway, so I found that all in the backyard. My backyard here, so sun's almost going down. No worries, cheers. I'll catch you back in the shed. G'day, welcome back. Well, I've gone and collected the moss from the backyard. I've got the moss here. There's some of that green plain moss. And then some of all the other bits and pieces of moss which I've found. And then there's that sort of lettuce. What I said was like little lettuces, but anyway, that type of moss. Another big patch of it over there. Pretty cool, all different types. I'm going to put it on there and see if it's enough. Let's hope it is. This sort of moss is really cool. I do like it, but you just got to have it mixed up with different moss, otherwise it'll look pretty plain in the pot if you only had that. So I'll just go and moss the tree. Just show you, I've got some of the root base uncovered now. And there is actually some extra root system that I've exposed this time that didn't really show itself last time in here. There's some. Hard to see. You'll see more contrast once the moss goes in. And also down the back. Some roots there that'll moss around. No worries, let's get to mossing.